Welcome back to the channel today, guys, and I gotta be honest with you. I feel terrible today. I really don't feel very good at all. I got pretty sure I had food poisoning last night, and I'm just really not feeling great. I wasn't even gonna record today, but the show must go on. And what better cure for feeling sick than an episode filled with political intrigue and full-on dialogue, like what happened in Overlord today. Nothing says feeling better like listening to dialogue for 25 minutes. But we had an interesting episode of Overlord today with our boy Philip actually making some moves. Questionable moves, but we'll see how effective they are going forward. But enough talk, let's get into it and talk about Overlord episode 8 today. So our episode begins today with Zennik and Renner talking amongst themselves about little problems that have cropped up within the kingdom. Of how the theocracy actually asked them for aid against Jalbabath earlier in our show, as you guys remember, and how they refused to do so because they didn't feel like they could do anything against him. So they actually went to the Sorcerer Kingdom for aid. And they defeated Jalbabath, as we all know, and sent them a huge amount of supplies. And because of that, their standing in the world has only constantly increased. And that is putting Zennik on edge. It's not exactly like he can refuse them or turn them away. He can't just be hostile against them, because that would be beyond foolish to be hostile against the Sorcerer Kingdom. So he is a bit worried, because he thinks to himself, like, you know, they're so generous, it's kind of disturbing. Not only did they send supplies, they're constantly sending food over there too. And they've allowed the Sorcerer Kingdom actually to send the supplies through the kingdom, because again, they can't just turn them away. And he's in quite a pickle because of it. Now, our episode today is actually kind of focused on Philip in a way. Because Philip's in a bar drinking, you know, as he does, and he's a little down in the dumps. And he gets approached by two nobles who are clearly trying to use him for his newfound title. And they start giving him a little bit of information that the Sorcerer Kingdom has become like a huge supplier of food to the world. Of how they've used a bunch of undead to constantly farm and all that, to constantly have a supply of food going. And that because of that, other places that create food are becoming less and less needed. Now, because of the Sorcerer Kingdom's new convoy of food in a way, they're able to constantly move it around anywhere they need to do. So they've actually have a cart that they've sent throughout the kingdom to deliver food to people for a much cheaper price. So the food in the kingdom is kind of just sitting there going to waste. And Philip is pissed about that, because that greatly affects how much money he can make with his crops from his territory. So our boy Philip devises a plan, actually. And not quite sure if it's a very smart plan, but that's Philip for you. And he decides to steal it. He decides to steal the cart from the Sorcerer Kingdom. Now, Albedo, feeling like she made a mistake, which she kind of did a little bit, she calls all the floor guardians together and Ainz, and they kind of discuss this situation where she reluctantly tells Ainz that, yeah, our food we sent to the theocracy was stolen, and by a noble of the kingdom. And he was kind of someone that I've been working with, Ainz. Now, she's freaking out, and Ainz is just like, oh, I mean, it happens, right? But at the same time, they're trying to figure out that, is this the kingdom's doing, or is this Philip's doing alone? Now, everyone swears throughout this whole episode that there's no way someone would be that stupid. There's no way someone could make that stupid of a decision on their own. Our boy Philip, though, definitely did. And they even bring Helma in to question this, to see if she has any involvement, because she's technically Philip's backer. So she is the one that should be controlling him. And Ainz gets to the bottom of it and determines that she is not involved in this and lets her go. And seeing how benevolent Ainz can actually be, she was swooned, I guess you could say. And now she's more, I guess you could say she's more willing to help the Sorcerer Kingdom than ever now that she's seen Ainz up close and personal. But now that the matter with her has been addressed, Albedo and the rest of the Floor Guardians, along with Ainz, think about what they should do about the kingdom. And it's here that we start talking about the carrot and stick plan, of how they plan to incite a civil war within the kingdom and absorb the people into their own kingdom. And they were going to use Philip to do that. Now, but this situation kind of changes things a little bit. And you might be asking, like, how does this really change our situation that much? And it's the fact that they were going to use the people's dissatisfaction with the kingdom to incite this civil war. That's why they've been doing all this smoozing, I guess you could say, with all the nobles of the kingdom recently, to try to get them on their side and so they can feel dissatisfied and want to have a civil war in the kingdom. But because of Philip's actions, they think the kingdom is taking direct confrontation with them. And that kind of throws a wrench into the plan. And because of that, they're trying to figure out what they should really do to the kingdom. Now everyone, again, is thinking, could he be acting on his own? But then they're like, no, there's no way someone would be that stupid. There's no way someone would be that stupid to do a plan like this on their own. Even Albedo's like, could someone really be that stupid? Our boy Philip absolutely could be. And it's because of this situation they decide we need to take some action regardless against the kingdom. So Ainz is willing to just let things go and continue with the plan, but the Floor Guardians think immediate action need to be dealt out. So they want to punish the kingdom, actually. They dangled the carrot in front of them. Now it's time to give them the stick. Now, all the Floor Guardians want to just wipe out the kingdom completely. They absolutely just want to wipe it out to set an example. But a desolate kingdom would sully the name of Ainz Al Gon. So they can't just completely wipe everyone out, but they can't be too lenient either. So they start devising a plan on how they can punish the kingdom. And it's here we transition to the king of the kingdom with Zenik and all the officials discussing what they really should be doing. And it's here that they figure out that Philip was the one that did all this and caused these problems because the Sorcerer Kingdom has declared this an act of hostility towards them. And they have to quickly and decisively figure out how to defuse this situation. And Zenik right away says, we should just kill Philip. We should offer his head to begin our conversations of peace with them. We should just take him out and be done with it, to show them that we fully support them. And the king, of course, doesn't want this. He's like, my son, how could you? That's not the talk of a king. But Zenik knows, man. He's like, do you really want to make an enemy of the Sorcerer Kingdom? You saw what happened last season in Season 3. You saw exactly what happened. We can't fight them. There's no way. So the king reluctantly is a little bit on board with Philip. But just then, we actually get an announcement that Albedo has come to the kingdom herself. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh shit, stuff's about to go down. But then the episode ends, and I'm like, no! But thankfully, we get a little bit of a lifeline, because we get a little post-credit scene, I guess you could say, with Albedo approaching the king and all that, being welcomed, of course, with open arms. And she wants to discuss exactly what happened in this instance. And the king does a move that I don't think was expected that much. He offers his own head to the Sorcerer Kingdom to hopefully appease their anger. And that's how our episode ends. Like I said, it was an episode filled with political intrigue and not really too much happened, honestly. Just Philip freaking messing everything up yet again, man. Good old Philip. Now, I I want to say Philip has another part of his plan. You know, I'd like to think he's not this stupid. You know, like I said to you guys, I'm not caught up with Overlord in the light novel, so I'm not exactly sure what his plan is. But he made a big deal earlier that he had a really big plan, and I can't imagine just stealing the food is that. So maybe we'll see sooner than later what his plan is. I don't know. What do you guys think of this episode? You know, like I said, pretty slow episode, honestly. Not too much happened. But at the same time, this is the start of a bit of conflict in here. Maybe Philip's plan is to pit the Sorcerer Kingdom against the Kingdom and rise up in the process while that's happening. Who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see next week. So until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And if I didn't have as much energy in this video today, guys, I apologize. Like I do. I really do. I'm sorry. Hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow for Uncle in Another World, because I'd really like to have some energy for that video, to be honest. So until then, guys, I will see you guys next time. Deuces.